A self-described progressive activist has crashed a private Scott Morrison event in Western Sydney, calling the Prime Minister a disgrace before being ejected from the venue. Adisen Wright, whose TikTok bio says "Vote 1 ALP" and is listed online as a young Labour left supporter, said he was detained after crashing the event on Tuesday night. NSW Police said officers were called to the venue about 7:35 p.m. and issued a move-on direction to a 20-year-old man who left without incident. Full coverage, Federal Election 2022. Adisen Wright crashed a Scott Morrison Federal Election 2022 campaign event on Tuesday, April 12, 2022. In a 4-minute video shared on TikTok, Mr. Wright asks Mr. Morrison for a photo while filming on his phone, before eventually shouting at the Prime Minister about support for Blue Mountains bushfire victims. Mr. Wright begins the interaction in a friendly manner, saying he's pretty astounded as a young bloke here, before going on to say he lives in the Blue Mountains. "I just want to ask one question, ScoMo," he says, before the Prime Minister realizes the young man is still filming and confronts him about it. When Mr. Morrison tells him the event, at the Nepean Rowing Club in Penrith, is private, the 20-year-old immediately adopts a much more aggressive tone. "ScoMo, across the river here, across the Nepean River, people lost their house, people lost their houses and they were burnt," he shouts. "You're a disgrace. You are a disgrace." Mr. Wright then walks out of the venue, followed by a police officer who questions him for a few minutes. "Look, I didn't know it was a private event. I genuinely didn't. So I apologize for that," he tells the police officer in his video. "But I just wanted to ask a question because look, I obviously care about government, and in our area our house was incredibly impacted. We just want some action. Pfizer makes huge offer to buy Aussie app." Adisen Wright crashed a Scott Morrison Federal Election 2022 campaign event on Tuesday, April 12, 2022. More than 1 million hectares of land in the Greater Blue Mountains and World Heritage Area burnt during the 2019-20 bushfires, according to the Federal Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment. The department says it's spending $3 million on the area for emergency response and $13 million for resilience and recovery. Mr. Morrison was previously heckled by Hawaiian shirt-wearing protesters on the first day of the election campaign, at an event on the NSW South Coast. According to his Facebook and LinkedIn accounts, Mr. Adisen recently started as a receptionist at the Independent Education Union. Floodwaters continue rising in Sydney's northwest. He has reshared content from Anthony Albanese, Young Labour, and local Macquarie MP Susan Templeman. Mr. Wright later told followers he had been allowed out as "I did nothing."